Yo, 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 yo. What's good, everybody? Welcome to the Space Eater Rottweilers podcast. I am your captain, your host, Mr. Corey. And today, I got my lieutenant back.
Yo, 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 it's your boy J Money. Back again. It's been a little minute, been on my schoolboy stuff. I might not see you every now and then, but semester coming to an end, so y'all probably see me a whole lot more.
Hey, man, glad to have you back, little cuz.
Yes, sir.
Hey, man, I'm thrilled about today's episode because we have a very special guest joining us today. We got Mr. Maurice from DFW Dawg. What's good, Maurice?
How y'all doing? How y'all doing? Appreciate y'all for having me.
Hey, man. Pleasure all mine, man. Appreciate you for coming on.
No problem.
Yeah, man. Wanna get into a little bit about dog life, but first, before we get into that, wanna get into a little bit more about yourself. Who is Mr. Maurice Fundy?
So I'm originally from East Texas, Mount Pleasant to be exact. Not a very big town. I actually grew up outside of the city limits, so I wasn't even really inside of Mount Pleasant. I was out in the country. All my neighbors had horses, cows, chickens. You know what I'm saying? The whole farm life. That's what I grew up around. My dad bred dogs growing up. All he had was rots. So, naturally I was around rots all my life. He ended up giving up the dogs and the whole kennel for me and my little brother. Once we got involved heavy in travel sports, it just got too much trying to maintain dogs. And I mean, we was on the road every single weekend. I'm traveling to the city trying to go to practices and whatnot. So he ended up giving up the dogs. I went to college at Texas A&M Commerce. Commerce kind of gave me a feel of the city life, even though it wasn't really in the city because everybody was from the city. So, naturally, everybody I was becoming friends with was from Dallas. So going back and forth on the weekend with friends and whatnot, experiencing the city, it really kind of, showed me what life was really like outside of where I was from. And it was so different. So, that kind of naturally pulled me to the city life. And then after graduating college from commerce, I moved to the city, and I've been out here in Dallas ever since.
Man, did you have a big culture shock coming from a small town or the country to the big city, or was it easy for you to kind of adapt?
It was kind of easy for me, to be honest. I think, and I really thank commerce for that because being in commerce, I was in commerce for 5 years.
Yeah.
So being around people from the city for so long and traveling back and forth, it was like every weekend we back and forth, to Dallas. And it really wasn't that bad for me. I kind of always been that person that's been able to adapt. My dad was real big on that growing up. And then too, I think travel sports also played a big part because even though I was from the country, we was traveling all the time. So, you know what I'm saying? I was experiencing different places at a young age, and it was an opportunity that, a lot of people from where I'm from wasn't getting the opportunity to have. So I really, I got shout out to my parents for that. Even if it wasn't for sports, we was traveling. So I got to, experience the city at a young age. So it really wasn't that big of it wasn't that hard for me to adapt to.
Because it's good you had that exposure at a young age, so you was able to kind of just already had that feel for. Oh, what sports you play?
I was real big in baseball growing up.
Wow.
Yeah, like nobody really be expecting me to say baseball, you know what I'm saying? But I was like, when it came to sports, I mean, I loved all sports, and I played basketball when it was basketball season. I played football when it was football season, but I played baseball all year. You know what I'm saying? It didn't matter. Man, my dad had me out there working. It didn't matter the weather. Nothing mattered, man. Sometimes it'd be storm. I'd be like, yeah, man, we ain't got to work out today. Man, he done found an indoor somewhere to go practice, man. I'm like, man, we got to go work.
Yeah.
But I was heavy in baseball growing up. And then once I got to high school, it kind of flipped and baseball started becoming like a job where I really didn't love it like that. I was just naturally so good at it and I had been doing it so long that it really felt like a job, you know what I'm saying? Whereas basketball, I had the love for it.
Yeah.
So I started getting way more heavy into basketball once I started coming into high school. And then that's when the basketball really just took off, where I ended up being better in basketball than I was baseball.
How tall are you, bro? Just wondering.
5'11".
Okay.
5'11". You trying to size me up? You trying to on the hardwood?
Cause I used to hoop my whole life. I can relate to that, you know, like you said, like how you said baseball became a job. This like my first year not playing basketball. I got to the point where basketball became a job for me. I loved it, but, you know, when it's time, it's time. You feel me?
Nah, for real. I mean, cause I actually stopped playing. What was it? It was like my junior year of high school, and I don't know, man. It was different playing travel. And it's like every single person on your team was the best person in their position from, you know what I'm saying, miles away. You know what I'm saying? So you used to playing with this talent that's up here. And then I go to high school and it's like, you know what I'm saying, half the team don't really care. Yeah. They just out here just because nobody else in the school is good as them. You know what I'm saying? But it's just something for them. They just want to get a Letterman jacket. You know what I'm saying? And I'm out here practicing in the cold for 3 hours. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, man, it really felt like a job, you know? So it was just like, I remember telling my baseball coach, like, hey, I'm gonna run track this year. You know, I'm still gonna play baseball, but I'm gonna run track too. You know, baseball and track is in the same season. And I'm looking at all my homeboys like, man, they going to track meets and missing 2 days worth of school. And they telling me all these fun stories all the time. You know what I'm saying? I'm like, hey, coach, I'm gonna run track. And he was like, nah, you can't do both. I can't afford to, you know what I'm saying, lose, you know, you be doing both. I'm like, man, we got other people on the team that's doing both, but I can't do both. And he's like, oh, you can't run track. So I was like, all right, well, I ain't going to be able to play baseball this year, coach. So I went out there and I ended up running track. I thought I was going to be able to just go out there and do high jump. that was my plan. Like, I'm just high jump, and I could get the whole day of school with my homeboys. You know what I'm saying? And coach really tricked me and was like, yeah, you can just do high jump. And as soon as I got out there first meet, he done put me in the 400, 800, the relay. I'm just like, but then I found out I was fast. So it was just like, oh, well.
Man.
What you end up taking up or studying at Commerce?
I graduate. Initially, I was going for accounting. I don't know why. It just sounded cool as a, I guess. I don't know. I don't like math. I don't know why I thought I was going to be an accountant, but I ended up graduating with sport recreation management with a minor in business. Once I had got to Commerce, I started working in the recreation center. And it kind of like, it really was something that I really enjoyed. And, you know, from there, it was just like, wow, like, I think this is something that I want to go into. And then, you know, I mean, I thought about kinesiology. I always love, you know, sports, of course. And then, you know, I like kids, but it just seemed like, you know, that was taking the easy way out. Everybody, you know, all athletes, you know, let me just go get a kinesiology degree. No knock against anybody who do. I just kind of wanted to be a little bit different. And like I said, I always kind of had that business mentality a little bit. Yeah. Once I got to college, kind of seeing how you can attach something that you love to the business side of it, that kind of just a light bulb went off. So I ended up graduating with sport management recreation.
Sure. Is that experience kind of me just assuming, but that your college experience with your major and your minor, is that kind of what led up to the development of Dawg Life?
Nah.
No?
Nah. I think looking back and reflecting back on it, I think it has a little bit to do with it, maybe just from like the mindset that I was having. Yeah. But nah, Dawg Life kind of transpired after I had graduated. Okay. Yeah, that was after I had graduated. When I was in college, man, I honestly wasn't really, I didn't have that, I wasn't thinking about after I graduated until like my senior year. And that's when it was like, okay, you know, everybody telling you hear, you know, make sure, you know, you working on having a job before you graduate, because, you know, having a degree don't mean you gonna graduate, you know, get a job when you graduate. So
Right.
probably my last year, that's when I start, you know, trying to figure out, okay, what am I gonna do when I leave here? You know, I'm starting to see the light at the end of the tunnel. What am I gonna do? But dogs I wasn't thinking about dogs.
It's crazy, bro.
So when did your let me see how I want to phrase this. Your time come with getting into dogs. I know you had experience coming up with your dad and him doing his thing, but walk me through the process or the timing it took for you to get started and do your own thing.
And I think I gotta go back a little bit, because I know I said that dog life didn't start in college. I gotta go back a little bit, because dog life, the brand dog life didn't start until after I had graduated. But I did get my first ride when I was in college. It was probably like my junior year, and I was in a relationship at the time, and I knew I wanted to rock. And it was just like, okay, I'm gonna go get a female. You know, the dog would keep me entertained. You know what I'm saying? I'm normally just in my house or hooping. If I wasn't hooping, I was at the crib. I wasn't really the on the scene type of guy. I was just at the crib. I could entertain myself, and I felt like having a dog was, you know, gonna make it that much better. I did have plans on breeding her from the get go. I already knew, you know, naturally growing up with him and seeing my dad do it, it was like, okay, I'm gonna breed her when the time comes. But I wasn't in no rush for it. The dog didn't even have papers. I didn't care about that. It was a guy in Mount Pleasant that I had went to high school with that I had found out that he had rights, and I went back out there. I seen the parents of the dogs, seen the 2 puppies he had available. I liked the parents. I liked the puppy. It was only $250.
Damn.
I went half on it, you know what I'm saying? So it was just like, oh yeah, this is easy. So I got that dog, but again, I wasn't thinking about dog life. I really wasn't even thinking about a business mentality with the dog. I just thought that, okay, I got me a nice dog now, and in the future I breed it. So kind of fast forward, after I had graduated commerce, I was still in that stage where I had a job with the city of Dallas in park and recreation. So I was fortunate enough to be that person that was working in the field that I got my degree in. But I realized that I wasn't really making the money that other people was making, and they wasn't even working in the field that they got a degree in. And that was kind of challenging a little bit. It wasn't really that much. I'm a really simple guy when it comes to expenses, and I don't go shopping, and I'm not spending money on XYZ. So I didn't really need a lot. It was just in my mind, like, you know, like I went and got a degree for this. Like I'm making money that I didn't have to go get no degree for.
Yeah.
And I had the dog. I bred the dog. When it was time for her to get bred the first time, I ended up breeding her. And I sold all the puppies for like $500 a piece. And in my head, when I was, you know, getting deposits and people paying, it was like, dang, like this is easy. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? I'm selling a dog for $500, and I only paid $250 for the dog that I got. So I'm making double per puppy what I spent. And then after, I think she had 8 puppies. After I added up how much money I made, it didn't really kind of hit me like, you done spent X amount this whole time since you bought the dog, so you really ain't made no money.
Right.
And then the money that I did make, it's people out here selling 1 puppy for what I made off 8.
Right.
So that was kind of like, dang, like it was just kind of like a shot to the gut a little bit, you know what I'm saying? Making me feel like, you know, like it's people out here way ahead of you. So that's what kind of led me into doing more research and trying to figure out, what do I need to do to, be able to sell my dogs for more money like other people. And at this time, I'm not knowing about the breed standard. I'm not knowing about the correct, or how should I say, why you should be breeding. You know what I'm saying? You always hear people, you should be better in the breed, or you shouldn't be breed. I didn't understand that at the time. I was just like, yeah, that's what them old heads say. I'm not worried about all that. I'm just gonna do my thing, and hey, whatever. And I started getting on Facebook, and I started joining Rottweiler groups, and seeing those groups and seeing what people was talking about. It showed me like, I was at the bottom of the totem pole. You know what I'm saying? And I don't know. I'm the type of person that, I like being the best that I can be in no matter what it is I do. So naturally seeing how low I was at and where my knowledge was at, that's what kind of sparked the dog life, so to speak. From that point, I realized like, okay, everybody out here who's very successful and everybody know globally, they got a kennel name. They got a name behind them. You know what I'm saying? I didn't have no name on my first 2 litters with my first dog. I just sold the puppies. I didn't know nothing about AKC and health testing. I didn't know none of that. So naturally seeing how everybody else had them a kennel name, that's what kind of honestly sparked dog life, because I realized like, I didn't want the attention on me. I didn't want everybody, saying Maurice. I'm not that type of person. I really don't like the spotlight. I like to, be behind the scenes, so to speak. So that's what kind of sparked dog life. And I don't really know. I can't really remember what made me even say dog life. I think I was writing. I'm real big on, I'm a writer. Like I like to write down things, I know nowadays you would think that we use our phones, but I have about 3 journals just full of notes. Man. And I just got to writing, and I wrote, dog, but I spelled it DAWG. But I was like, I didn't want it to just be that. It had to stand for something, you know what I'm saying? Because a lot of people can just write DAWG. I didn't want to be viewed as just another one. So I started just looking at it, and then it just came to my head, doing all worth greatness. And it just stuck like, dang, doing all worth greatness. And at that time, I was having to do a lot of different things that I felt like it's what I had to do for where I was at. For example, I was having to work 2 part-time jobs instead of having just one job that was related to my my degree. I was only working part-time with the city, and then I was working another part-time job. So, it was just little things like that was like keeping me motivated, keeping me grounded mentally, and not, worrying about what everybody else was doing. And everybody else got their dream job out of college, and I didn't necessarily. So doing all worth greatness, it just stuck. And then from there, dog life was just established for me. I knew I wasn't changing it. I started making t-shirts. I bought me a vinyl cutter. I was in there pressing shirts and putting it on clothes and putting this outfit together and taking pictures. Like, so from there, it was just like, all right, dog life, this is what it is.
It was all in.
Yeah. That's crazy to think about.
Yeah.
What led you to the attachment to the Rottweilers? I know you've been around them all your life, but sometimes some people been around something their whole life, they choose to, it's a turn off for them. You know what I mean? Your parents fed you oatmeal every morning. Now you can't stand oatmeal. What was it about the Rottweiler that stuck with you, and you knowing this is the type of dog that you wanted?
I think initially it was reflecting back on how I grew up. It was what I knew. It was what I was comfortable with. It was what I had the most knowledge with. I had a few other dogs growing up. I had a boxer. Every single one of my neighbors had labs. And, growing up in the country, nobody dog just stay at their house. Right. I look out my back door, and, my neighbor dog just laying down in my backyard chilling.
Yeah.
So I was around labs a lot, but to answer your question, it was really where I grew up. Being around it with my dad. But I think what made me stay with the Rocks was what they could do. I was always a big dog fan. I'm not that person that wants a little dog and come a lap dog and let you lick on my face. That's just not my personality. I was real big on having a dog that fit me.
Right.
I felt like it was gonna make our relationship better and less stressful. So that's what kind of made me stick with the Rock, was being able to see what all the Rock could do. The Rock can protect you. The Rock is highly intelligent. The Rock can go in public. The Rock can still be okay with kids. You know what I'm saying? I tell people all the time. I joke with some of my clients like, your dog's still not better than a Rock, right?
Yeah.
And then I don't know. It's like I couldn't think of a bigger dog that was smarter. I know some bigger dogs that's bigger than a Rock, but not smarter. And I know some smarter dogs than a Rock, but they're not bigger. So I felt like that was the biggest I could go with having that intelligence to go with it. So that's what kind of made me stick with the Rocks.
Is there one particular Rottweiler that kind of just stuck in your psyche that like this is the perfect Rottweiler to me, whether it be something you saw in your past or something that you saw once you got a little bit more information joining the Rottweiler groups?
Before starting it all, I would say it was one of my dads growing up. And he had a Rott named Whiskey. And the dog was just so big. You know what I'm saying? Like, I know nowadays I see dogs that's way bigger than Whiskey was, but being a kid and growing up, that dog was the biggest dog. I didn't even think he was a dog sometimes. But to see the relationship that my dad had with him, I never forget. It was a time where Whiskey, he growled at my dad one time. And he had never did that ever. And my dad was feeding him and he growled at him. And my dad, being the type of guy he is, he's a disciplined guy. You know what I'm saying? So he wasn't really going for that. And let's just say he dumped the dog's food out, peed on his tree. And ever since then, Whiskey was like the most obedient dog in the world. Like, he was the only one out of all my dad's dogs that he would trust the dog with me and my brother. Nowadays, I see a lot of differences on what people want Rotts for versus what people wanted Rotts for back then. And all his dogs, none of them was sociable to other people. Like, none of them. They wasn't playing that. They'll let you know as soon as somebody even was coming down the street, they was gonna let you know. But Whiskey was the only one that me and my brother could, be outside with without him being there. So I would definitely say that's the dog that pretty much stuck out to me.
How many dogs did your dad have, like, growing up?
He had about 8 to 10. 10 was probably the most he had at one time. But I would say about 8. He was about 8. And now it's funny because I tell him all the time, it's like, a lot of breeders now, 8 ain't nothing. 8 is what people starting off with. But back then, everybody was like, man, he got so many dogs. Back then, it seemed like, 8 was a lot more dogs than 8 is today.
Right.
That's crazy to think about, times are changing, but no, it is kind of crazy how, some people don't realize that they don't think Rottweilers as smart as they are. Some, like our dogs, they do some things sometimes, and I just look at them like, bro, you really know what you're doing, huh?
Yeah.
And it's really crazy to think about. And people think they're so mean, and because Rottweilers, they look like they gonna hurt somebody for real. Like, some of them look real mean. Like ours, they're real well tempered and everything. But like you said, like sometimes they catch a vibe. If the vibe isn't right, they will let you know.
Exactly. And like you said, I agree. A lot of people fail to realize the intelligent side of it, and they only think about the protection side of it, you know? And it's like a lot of them are way more intelligent than they are protective. I think I haven't really seen a lot of rots that is not going to be territorial or protective of their owner, as long as their owner is treating them as they should. But again, I do think that a lot of people sleep on how intelligent they are. You know, I think that, like I said, what people wanted dogs for back then and now is so different, that the stigma of the dog being so aggressive just carried on to, you know, today's generation. But I do think that it's breaking a little bit. You know, you see way more people with families with rots that, you know, don't question the, you know, is this dog gonna be okay with my family or whatnot? But that stigma definitely, you know, traveled on with the rot. And it's just so crazy because the difference is now, like, you didn't really see people with rots as indoor dogs back in the day growing up. You know what I'm saying? Like, you wasn't walking in people's houses and they had 3 big rots in the house. Everybody dog was outside. And again, I'm just kind of speaking from my experiences. I'm not speaking for everybody. I'm pretty sure somebody had a rot in the house, but everybody I knew, you know what I'm saying, it was a norm to have your dog outside, probably tied to a tree. A lot of people had their dogs tied to a tree, you know what I'm saying? And it's just different, you know, to see, you know, how people raise their dogs now, because now I see people on, you know, on Facebook posting a picture of their dog outside and they got 30 negative comments because the dog is outside. And I'm just like, when did it become a problem for a dog to sleep outside?
Yeah. So, they want to dress them up and have them all cute and stuff.
You know what I'm saying? They got the bow ties on them, and you know what I'm saying? And hey, if that's your thing, that's your thing. We not knocking you for having a bow tie on your dog, but people want to knock people for having a dog outside. And it's like, the dog is 130 pounds, double coated. Originally from Germany, where it's even colder than in Texas, but the dog can't be outside. That's crazy to me.
Right.
I'll never understand, like, some people, they're trying, like, Rottweilers, you can have them inside, but at least let them be indoor, outdoor.
Right.
Can't have them locked up all day, or else you're gonna come back to a whole lot of nothing.
Tear that house up.
Yeah, because they got so much energy and they need that space to move around. Have you noticed a difference from the dogs back then when your dad had them to now, or on what you're dealing with, as far as any characteristics, looks, temperaments?
Yeah, all of the above, man. All of the above. I mean, I think the most is the temperament. And like I said, I can't speak for everybody, but strangers wasn't walking up to nobody with a Rottweiler back then. You know what I'm saying? You see somebody with a Rott, hey, how you doing? You stay over there. I'm gonna stay over here. Cool. You know what I'm saying? Nowadays, you know, it's been times where I'm walking maybe 3 Rotts at one time, and people would just walk up to me and be like, oh my God, can I pet your dog? And it's like, you already petting them before I said yes. You know what I'm saying? It's like, you really just walked up to 3 big Rotts and stuck your hand down there and start rubbing on my dog before I said yes. You know what I'm saying? People wasn't doing that back in the day. You know what I'm saying? And you would have got your hand bit off back in the day for even trying to do something like that.
Right.
And, you know, now I see the temperament. The temperament is just so different. And I don't think it's a bad thing. I think it all boils down to, what do you want the dog for? You know what I'm saying? If you looking for a dog because you have a family and you just want a pet and, you know, you want your kids to grow up with a dog, I think that it's great that the Rottweiler temperament has, you know, transformed into what it is today, because that's what you really need. You need a dog that, you know, is just going to, you know, kind of be on the chill side, not going to be, you know, super amped up, not going to, you know, be as aggressive or territorial to things. But, you know, if you were looking for personal protection work or bite work, you still kind of want to have some of those, you know, dogs with bloodlines that, you know, do have more drive, you know, or more, you know, aggression in them. But I see, you know, the temperament is the biggest difference that I see. I do think the look for sure. I think that we are seeing way more European looks now with the blockhead. Blockheads back then was kind of a little, it was like finding a diamond, you know what I'm saying? That was just like, oh, wow, look at that dog. Whereas, it was way more, I don't really like using the term, but as people would say, the American style rock look back then, you know what I'm saying? So the looks now we seeing all type of different looks that you can easily distinguish what bloodline it came from.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the temperament, the look, and the tail. The tail. Growing up, I would have never, if I seen a rock with a tail, it's mixed automatically.
Right.
Like, it don't matter how good that dog look, it got a tail, it's mixed. And I would have never owned no rock with a tail. That dog could have been 5 years. I could have got a rock at 5 years old, and that tail got to go some way. That tail got to go. But now the tail has grown on me. When I start doing my research and I start gaining knowledge that the tail, kind of, overseas they don't dock tails. So it was like, wow. My thought process was complete backwards, thinking that a rock with a tail was mixed, when really some people with a rock with a tail meant that it was more pure than my rock.
Right.
So I would definitely say the temperament has changed, the look has changed, and people having love for the tail has changed.
What's your opinion on the differences of, I guess, preferences and standards from here in America and overseas or in Europe?
That's a good one. And it's actually something a lot of my followers on my platform, continue to ask me. So I'm glad you asked me that. That's tough because I have a lot of mixed feelings. I truly believe that you should like whatever you like. You know what I'm saying? Like, we are human. Every human has individual feelings, and that is okay. I don't understand why people, cause so much ruckus because one person feels a certain type of way. I think that the American standard, the Serbian standard, the German standard, they're all different. And that's kind of contradicting, and it can be kind of confusing for people who haven't had a lot of time in the rock game. And that's one thing I kind of don't like, because, you have people, I remember myself when I was, just getting into it, and I mean, still to this day also, when I'm trying to, learn as much as I can, one person tell you this, one person tell you that, another person tell you this, and it's like, what do I go with? How do I supposed to really know what should I go with? So at the end of the day, I think you should go with whatever you want to go with. I see dogs in Serbia that are winning in shows that won't win an AKC show. And I see dogs, of course, that's in an AKC show with a dog tail that won't go to Germany and won't win. Mm-hmm. So it's like I said, it's kind of contradicting, because I do think that there should be a standard. If we don't have any type of standard, things is gonna get very chaotic, and you're gonna have people breeding, doing all type of crazy stuff. It kind of reminds me of the bully world. Yeah. You got this bully bred to this bully, and it creates this bully, and that bully to that bully, and it creates this bully. That's all too confusing for me, man. I just say bullies.
Yeah.
And I kind of see that with the rocks, to be honest with you. I kind of said it a while back that I kind of really picture in the future the rocks having different classes of rocks.
Man,
I can see it. It's like, I feel like it is going to be like a classic Rottweiler, a standard Rottweiler, an extreme Rottweiler. You know what I'm saying? It'll be all these different type of rocks, because everybody, has their own preference, and different places standards don't match different places. So I don't really honestly know how to feel about it. Because like I said, I'm a believer that people should like what they like. So I don't think that it's wrong for Serbians to have this particular look that doesn't match the AKC standard. And to be honest, I never understood the AKC standard anyway, because the dog originated from Germany. So if the dog originated from Germany, and we hold imports or dogs from overseas, period, on a higher pedestal or more value, why do we have a standard at all? Why didn't we just take the international standard or FCI and that's the one standard? You know what I'm saying? Like and I feel like I know why. The American always know why. It's all about money. That's why they did it. But all in all, it's hard for me to, let any standard hold too much weight over another standard, because at the end of the day, it's all gonna come down to what you like. You know what I'm saying? You got people who don't care nothing about no standard. You got people who is gonna standard this, standard that, and then my question is which one?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? And, international standard, but you got a dog-tailed dog. You know what I'm saying? And then you say AKC, but you're going to go get imports from Serbia. It's a lot of contradiction. So I'm honestly just riding the wave. I'm ready to see, what the future holds with this standard with the rot, because, I see so many people. We need to preserve the breed. We need to do what's best for the breed. And then I see that same amount of people doing things that it looks like they're going to take the breed the direction that the bullies went. So I don't know what the future holds. I don't think that my opinion holds enough weight to even matter, or it should matter to other people when it comes to what you like. So I'm ready to see what the standard holds.
Do you believe it needs to be a strict regulation all around the globe on if you're going to have this breed, that this is the standard? And, you have, look at it almost like a race car. Like everybody has a race car, but different mechanics, tune and fix up the cars, and they have like a slight advantage. You know what I'm saying? Like, do you think it should be a little bit more regulated with a little bit of wiggle room, or like how do you feel about that?
I feel like that it should be certain points that it doesn't matter where you at. That's the same. You know what I'm saying? So let's just say, hypothetically, to every standard, there's going to be 10 bullet points. 6 to 7 of those bullet points needs to be the same, no matter if you're in Serbia, Germany, America. You know what I'm saying? And then I feel like, I do see that, a couple of those bullet points can kind of differ. Because again, I'm a firm believer that people gonna like what they like, and that's okay. So it's kind of hard to say that all 10 bullet points should be the same everywhere, because we all know that even if it is the same everywhere with all 10 bullet points, people still gonna do what they want anyway. Mm-hmm. So it's like we either get with the program of different standards and different dogs, or it's gonna happen regardless. Right. So it's kind of hard for me to say, to be honest. I do think that there should be certain things that this is said, you know what I'm saying? Like, you can't go get a Doberman, breed it with a rot, and then that still fall in the standard some type of way. Like, that's just too far-fetched, you know what I'm saying? Right. I do think, but on the other hand, I feel like it's okay for your standards or international standards to, they don't believe in dock and tails. The dog doesn't have a dock tail, whereas America, we can have a dock tail. I think that's okay. That's an okay difference, you know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, that is only a preference to the owner or the buyer, you know what I'm saying? That's all that is. So little things like that, I'm kind of okay with, but it's other things that, I feel like should be, very uniformed. I don't really understand how the muzzle ratio got off everywhere. You know what I'm saying? Right. I get why the dock tail did, because it's illegal there and it's not illegal here. So if it's not illegal, you know what I'm saying? I'm pretty sure if it wasn't illegal overseas, more people would do it. It's not illegal. I have people from overseas that reaches out to me about buying dogs for me, and because I'm docking puppies' tails and they can't get a dock tail puppy over there. Mm-hmm. So, little things like that, I find, I think that's okay in differences in the standard, but, I really feel like, there would be a lot more clarity. And I feel like the breed in itself with the community would be more more together, so to speak, if it wasn't so many differences. I feel like that's why the Rottweiler community is just so distraught, because it's so many different standards. It's so many, you know, different things you can do. And once, you know, you involve people's preferences and opinions, everything gonna go everywhere.
Right. And I kind of go back to what you said earlier. What are you getting a dog for? You know what I mean? And I think a lot of that probably, when it comes to people altering things or switching things up, it goes back to that. Like, what are they actually getting this dog for? Because, you know, some people, you know, they just want to, you know, a show dog or show off their dog. You know, some people probably want it to be, you know, a pet, or, you know what I mean? For whatever reason that they're getting the dog, I think people are finding niches within that. And you know what I'm saying? And I know, you know, the different type of styles of dog shows. So do you think that that is the reason why people kind of, you know, I guess alter certain things, or focus on a little bit more things than others?
Definitely. Definitely. I think, to be honest, most people don't know what they want to do with the dog before getting it. You see what I'm saying? A lot of people will have a goal after they get the dog, and then once they get the dog, they start seeing what other people doing with the dog, and now that's what they want to do with the dog. I feel like if more people knew what they wanted with the dog before getting it, it would change where and who they're getting the dog from. Because, you know what I'm saying, if I want a protection dog, but I'm going to a show line, it's gonna be a lot of frustration for me. You know what I'm saying, trying to make this dog do what I want it to do. Now, if we talking about just like within different shows, that's the same thing. You know, I feel like if you have a goal and you know, then it gives you a little bit more clarity on, you know, what route to go with it. To be honest, I don't really have a ton of show experience. So that's something that I can't really just speak on a lot from experience. I have attended quite a few shows, but I haven't really put my dogs to compete in a lot of shows. When I first got involved with my, you know, not my first route, but when I first got my 2 females of quality that were registered, show wasn't even on my mind. That wasn't even on my mind. And it's funny because I used to always tell them, you know, when I was, you know, playing with them or exercising, you know, y'all gonna be champions. But I never even thought about going to no dog show. You know what I'm saying? And then once I started learning, you know, doing research about the dog shows, it kind of turned me off, to be honest.
So
I was never a politics type of guy. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was in my 20s when I started learning how the government worked. So when I hear politics, you know what I'm saying? But getting in the dog game and starting to like see how shows actually operated, higher up people, they not gonna, you know, go into all this, but it's politics in all them dog shows. I don't care what nobody say. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, it's a lot of politics, and that's just not me. You know what I'm saying? I do feel like I would compete a couple of my dogs in the future, and that's only because I feel like I would be selling some of my dogs short by not competing them. Because I have a couple of dogs that's just like, I know you gonna place if I compete you. You know what I'm saying? So it's like I'm holding you back, and I don't want to have pride within myself that's gonna hold my dogs back, you know, from, you know, being recognized or, you know, earning accolades, you know, just because of how I feel. Even though, like I said, dog shows it's too many politics. You know, who's hosting the show? How do they want the show to go? What judge do they want to bring? Oh, this judge doesn't really favor tailed dogs, so I'm gonna bring in a dog that favors dock-tailed dogs. You know what I'm saying? It's just like, it's almost like event planning, but you're planning the event based on how you want it to go. You know what I'm saying? You're not worried about everybody else. You worried about how you want it to go. And I never really, the AKC being different than the Seeger shows, and man, you know, that was just never really my thing. I really don't like AKC. if I'm going to compete, I'd rather go with the Seeker or the international style shows. I never really understood why would AKC want to have a dog show with rots, but you don't want to see no drive.
Right.
But the standard says the dog should have drive.
Right.
That's like saying you want to see a hooper, but you don't want to see him hoop. You just want to see his shooting mechanics. Nobody want to see no shooting mechanics all day long. You know what I'm saying? That don't mean you can hoop. You know what I'm saying? We want to see you hoop. We want to see you get up and down the court. We want to see you be physical, you know, and that's how I feel with the rots. Like, I don't, you know, a rot, the dog barks, oh, DQ. It's a dog. Right. You know what I'm saying? A dog with drive. So AKC kind of really turned me off. You got to have a suit on. Mm-hmm. Are you judging me or the dog? Now, don't get me wrong. I can go put on a suit that's cleaner than everybody in this room.
Right.
But do I want to run around with a suit on? You know what I'm saying? That's just my opinions on it. I mean, I guess, you know, they want you to look business professional, and I don't really have no problem being business professional. You know, I run a business. But it's at the end of the day, are you judging me or are you judging the dog? And that's why I respect the international shows a lot more, because they're not worried about the person. They want to see the dog. You know, they want to see the drive of the dog. They want to see that dog run, and, you know, more than an AKC show, or, you know, let me see how you react to this ball. So that's kind of my take on the shows. But again, I don't have a ton of experience. It's something that I'm still learning day by day, honestly. And to be honest, it's like I'm really learning more of the bully shows more than the rots. Bully shows, they got one every 2 weeks.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And I don't really understand that either. I got to travel halfway across the country to go to a show with my rots. And then on top of that, it'll be one maybe every 3 months. Whereas the bullies, like I said, they having one every 2 weeks in my own city. So I feel like they kind of they're a little bit more together with the shows than with the rots.
I don't know if I could attribute that to us here in America being lacking the education or the knowledge on the dog or on the breed, or is it just maybe just a want to, you know what I mean, do or show what this dog, you know, truly is and what they do. You know what I mean? You know, we get stuff here and we try to make it our own, and, you know, we tweak things and remove things like that. Cause I never understood why a Rottweiler should be in an AKC show versus, you know, a show where it shows off the drive and, you know what I mean, some type of platform to show their athletic ability and their intelligence. You know what I mean? Because the dog is way more than just, you know what I mean, for looks. You know what I mean? And people get into that just for that, but like still, like I kind of feel like you're doing your dog a disservice to not let them, you know, be a dog in a sense. You know what I mean? Because I feel like a lot of that show stuff is kind of like a parent that's forcing their child to, you know, play a sport or do some type of extracurriculum that they don't necessarily want to do. You know what I mean?
I always say it's like a beauty pageant.
Yeah.
Man, it's like that kid don't even want to dress up and put this dress on and do that and stand like this, but you making them. And my opinion is I kind of feel like it kind of goes back to the differences of generations. I feel like, you know, back then in the generation when we were kids and toddlers and growing up, and even before us, I feel like it was less people who were in the show with rots. Now, again, I know some people was, but you see way more IPO titles if you start going far enough back in the pedigrees than you do actual confirmation titles. I feel like the confirmation, especially in America, grew with the rot as time went on, because as time went on, people wanted the dogs for different reasons that wasn't necessarily about the protection side of the dog or the working side of the dog. And I know that, you know, confirmation is a form of work, but, you know, I mean, you know, the working side, the protection side, you know, the IPO and the sport side of the dog. I feel like that's what kind of contribute to more people now wanting to do confirmation because it's easier. You know, it is a lot easier to do conformation training than it is obedience or sport or personal protection. Your dog doesn't really, you don't have to necessarily have an obedient dog to go in a show ring. It's just a routine. Just do the same exact thing with the dog every single day. Run them around in a square every single day. Stack them every single day. Stack them from a puppy. When he eats, don't let him eat the food off the ground. These are just some things. Have his head up when he's eating. So it's a lot easier with conformation. And I feel like that's why it's growing with the Rocks now, because, a lot of people, especially in the States, we like taking the easier way out.
Sound like they being lazy, bro.
Exactly. Exactly. We're not going to go further into it. You just said it right there.
What is your preference or your ideal Rottweiler for you?
That's tough. Man, that's tough. Because I'm the type of person where once you excel at something, I still want you to do something else. So that's a tough question. That's tough because let's just put it like this. I have 11 dogs. Every single one of them is different. Mm-hmm. Every single one. I have littermate sisters and they different. And all of them in a way is perfect to me. They all do something that's perfect, but they all do something else that don't. So I don't think that there's really no overall perfect dog. But if I just had to pick, I truly love a dog that is very confident. It is my pet. It's one of my pet peeves to have a working breed that is not confident. I don't like when, I see dogs, I deal with a lot of dogs. I see dogs and, it's working dogs and you walk up to the dog and it start peeing on itself. That's not my type of dog. I like dogs that are very confident. They're not going to back down from nothing. That puppy that it'll run over there with the adult dogs and bark at them. You know what I'm saying? A adult dog try to stick his head in that puppy bowl and that puppy not going for it. That's my I like that one. You know what I'm saying? I love a dog that it's kind of hard because I feel like so many of them do, but they want to please you. You know what I'm saying? I have a couple that they don't care. They just want to go lay down. You know what I'm saying? They don't. And then I have a couple that they just looking at me like, what you want me to do? What you want me to do? That's more of me. You know what I'm saying? One that desires to work. Before having the facility and being involved with so many, in the dog game, so many ways, I kind of preferred lower drive, but only because it was more of a fit to my lifestyle. I didn't necessarily have as much time for the dog. So I wanted a dog that was just going to chill out. You know what I'm saying? Just lay right there. I rub you when I rub you. We go out when we go out. But other than that, just chill. Whereas now I prefer a dog with more drive. I want you to be amped up. I want you to want to go out and work and run and, be playful and jump up. But I don't really know if I really have an ideal of this is exactly what I would want. And I think that kind of stems from my experiences with all my dogs and having so many dogs that's so different in so many different ways that I like something out of all of them that I've never had a dog that has the one thing that I like out of all my dogs, that one dog have it all. Mm-hmm. I've never experienced that. So I don't really just have one ideal perfect dog, if that makes sense.
Will it be easy for you to say some things that you don't like that you see that's going on within the Rottweiler breed that you don't particularly have a taste for?
It's a couple, to be honest, but I would say the main thing that I don't like, I just don't like the negativity in general within the community, and that's and I'm going to say mainly social media, because, 9 times out of 10, people not gonna keep it honest with you in front of you. You know what I'm saying? They could not like your dog, and then when they see you in person, they're gonna be like, oh, you know, that's a nice dog you got. But I'm gonna say mostly social media. I just really don't like that it's so much negativity. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you don't like that dog, that's okay. But what made you really waste your time and energy to type an essay on this man's post because you didn't like that dog? Like, if you use that same time and energy about this negative comment that you posting, because I know that had to take you at least 10 minutes to type it, because it took me 10 minutes to read it.
Yeah.
So if you use that same 10 minutes and go do a 10-minute heel session with your dog is gonna be in a better off spot. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's probably my biggest pet peeve within the Rottweiler breed, is just the negativity within, you know, people. I feel like the Rott community is one of the most passionate breed communities I've ever seen. I'm in a lot of Malinois groups. I'm heavy in the bully community also. I'm pretty heavy. I'm getting there with the Cane Corso community. I'm pretty heavy in the Great Danes. The only breed that I personally see that's close to as passionate about their breed is bullies. Other than bullies, I don't really see a lot of breeds as a whole community that is as passionate as a Rott. If you go tell a Rott person that it's a better dog breed than they dog, they not trying to hear that. You know what I'm saying? And a Frenchie person would just be like, oh, okay. You know what I'm saying? So I don't really understand why so many people are so negative. Like, if you don't like that dog, keep scrolling. You know what I'm saying? If you like the dog, hey, give that man a compliment. You know what I'm saying? Give that man his flowers. There's nothing wrong with that. But I just don't understand why so many people spread so much negativity when at the end of the day, it don't matter. Somebody doing something that somebody don't like and they not commenting on your post. So why do you feel the need to go, you know, bash somebody about their post? It didn't take no money out your pocket. You not having to look at it. You not having to deal with it. The man is taking care of his dogs probably better than you taking care of your dogs, but you just don't like the way his dog look, and now you want to talk about it.
Right.
I don't like that.
People be putting so much energy into just all the wrong things, and it's crazy because they'll spend, like you said, at least 10 minutes typing all that negativity out, but they won't stop for a second and think, yo, maybe I could say something positive about, oh, that's too much. Like, right. You know, like it's crazy how people really all about the BS.
Right. You know what I'm saying?
All for bad vibes. I'll never understand.
Right. Yeah, most definitely. I mean, you will see a picture of a timid tour a dog, and it have 129 comments. 100 of them is negative. 29 is positive. But then you will see somebody with, you know, some other dog doing all type of incredible training, and the dog looks like it's been trained for 10 years and it's perfect, and it'll have 4 comments.
Yeah.
Nobody want to give this man his flowers, but y'all quick to go, you know, give somebody some negativity. And to me, that's just, that's not what's up. You know, that's not what's up individually. It's not what's up as a breed community. It's not gonna, you know, help other people. It's not changing nothing, you know. So that's kind of my take on that. I would say the second biggest thing that I don't like within the Rottweiler community is everybody gets a dog that they not prepared for. And it kind of go back to what you said earlier when you were saying that they need to kind of at least be indoor and outdoor, because if you leave them just indoor, they're going to tear something up. And, you know, everybody get these breeds, they don't work them, and then get mad at the dog for tearing something up. You know what I'm saying? Even if it's not the inside of the house, they tear up the backyard. And I used to be guilty of that myself. That's one thing I will say. You know, I'm not perfect. I've grown. So when I say people, I can put myself in that category too. When I first started, the dog is digging holes. Every time I come home, it's a million holes out there. But it's like, how much time have you spent with the dog today? How much training did you give that dog today? How much stimulation did you give that dog today? Did you give that dog any type of affection today? And, like I said, me being involved with the services now and having so many different clients, I see it every single day. People, are so frustrated with their dogs, but you're not working them. And it's a working breed. People get these dogs because they like the way they look. Oh, it's a big dog. Oh, my uncle had one growing up. Your uncle was outside working that dog. Mm-hmm. You working 12 hours a day. You know what I'm saying? The harsh reality is these dogs not meant for everybody, and maybe it is meant for you, but it's just not meant for you right now. You need to kind of wait till you're in a better position. I remember I heard you when you said that you were, building your compound so that your dogs could have what they deserve. That's exactly what, people within this breed has to be able to do. You got to be able to do what's best for the dog. And I see a lot of people not really doing what's best for the dog. It's kind of selfish. People just like the dog, but you're not doing what you need to do for the dog.
And see, I had to learn that the hard way. I mean, because if you go look at my yard right now, I got a million holes in my yard. But that I needed that experience of like, okay, what am I not doing right? What do I need to be doing better? And I found out a little bit more about why they do it, the work, the stimulation that they need throughout the day. I mean, because they're big dogs and they need to get all that energy out. You know what I mean? It took me studying research to find out that you stimulate your dog more mentally than physically. You know what I mean? That drive that they have, they'll be a little bit more chill out because they have fulfilled their duties for the day. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Absolutely. And I like how you said that when you said you needed to go through that, because to be honest, we all needed to go through that. Like I said, my yard used to be tore up. I come home after a long day, whole house just, but without that, it would have never kind of pushed us to get to where we at now and where we're headed to. And that's why I kind of also take a lot of pride into always being there or always trying to be a helping hand to anybody just now getting in the game, or people who's on a lower level platform than me, because I remember when I was on that lower level platform and nobody was there for me. Nobody, was helpful to me or wanted to, give me advice or give me knowledge where that could have really been a huge difference maker, So now it's like I see people or I see breeders that I've been watching for so long, and I remember when their platform was down here and now their platform is up here. And it's like you forgetting about the people down here. Now it's like, that's just such and such. He'll be all right. I ain't got to answer his call or help him or, look out for him. Or, I see people, I have quite a few people that are humble enough to like, come to me and ask for advice, and it's like, man, I respect that. Some people look at it like, oh, that's just such and such coming to me trying to, find out what I'm doing. I think that everybody who's starting out should be going to, breeders with experience, trying to, ask this and learn that and get more knowledge, because that's what's going to, push you forward and not make certain mistakes that we made that could have been fatal mistakes. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't want nobody making a fatal mistake with their dog and breeding a JLPP carrier with a JLPP carrier. And now you got a horrible situation when that could have been avoided by me simply telling you about JLPP.
Right.
What am I going to do? Hold that information just to say he don't know about JLPP? You know what I'm saying? And I see a lot of breeders that they forget about the people down here. When me and Mike Mungo was just talking about this, shout out to my boy Mike.
What up, Mike?
I respect the people down here almost more than I respect the people up there. The people down here is the main people liking my content, asking me questions and putting comments. The people, the high up breeders not, because they looking at me like I'm still down here. You know what I'm saying? Wherever you at in your platform level, it's always somebody ahead of you and it's always somebody below you. So I always, make sure that I'm still being a helping hand and always gonna be there for the people, below my platform.
And me personally, I appreciate you for being that. You know what I'm saying? Because we need more of that. So the generation behind us don't make the mistakes that that we made. You know what I'm saying? Like this the whole purpose of why I got started, because I noticed the trend of the popularity with the bully breed. And you know what I'm saying, you can find bully information all day, every day online on YouTube or, you know, Google search. You know, in the rock community, you kind of gotta dig, and sometimes it's almost like you gotta pull teeth out of some of these experienced people. You know what I mean? So it's just like, man, we gotta be better. You know what I'm saying?
I definitely agree. I definitely agree. And I feel like, you know, it starts with us. You know, it starts within yourself, because it's easy to say, well, that's just how it is. You know what I'm saying? But if everybody is thinking like that, it's gonna forever be like that. You know, I like I told you, I commend you for even having this podcast, you know, because it's a lot of people, and it's no knock against nobody, but it's a lot of people who are just breeding dogs.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? But it's like, what else can you do to be more beneficial for the breed? Because everybody say this is all about bettering the breed. So even if you're doing what you should be doing for the dogs, is that all you can do to better the breed? You having a podcast to be a platform for people to gain knowledge, that is bettering the breed, because now people can come and learn things about the breed, you know, and maybe they realize, man, it's not the breed for me. You know what I'm saying? So I think that, you know, we definitely need more people, you know, that are doing things, you know, outside of breeding to better the breed.
Do you have any recommendations for the viewers and the listeners on maybe a few kennels or a few people to follow, to, you know what I mean, that you feel is doing the breed a good service?
Well, y'all should start with going ahead and following Space City, which clearly, you know, y'all following now. Well, make sure y'all just hit the subscribe button. I'ma always tell people y'all should definitely make sure y'all go follow on YouTube Mike Mongo Music, or is it Mike Mongo 2?
Yeah, it's Mike Mongo 2.
Be correct, Mike Mongo 2. He has Rottweiler vlogs, and all of them isn't just about Rots, but man, it's so much information and so much knowledge on those episodes. He has breeders at the top of the game. He has breeders at the bottom of the game. He has just family breeders. He has people that's not even breeders. They just own a dog and, you know, telling their experience. And I would definitely, you know, follow his platform. Let me think, who else? I'm a fan of Documentary TV. They were pretty helpful. It wasn't as much just rot content, but I think that, you know, it's also important to not just focus on rots, because hearing about and learning knowledge about all other breeds and other aspects will kind of show you certain things about rots too, though. You know what I'm saying? It kind of shows you the differences, because if you only focusing on rots, you're not thinking about, you know, something else, or a different aspect to a dog. You're not thinking that the difference of this dog and this dog, and, you know, learning about this dog kind of taught me a little bit more about the rots. So I like Documentary TV. I like Bark Force Kennels. They're not really putting out as much content, but they're super helpful if you reach out to them. That was the first place that I got an import from. And I think that was, other than seeing how beautiful that my first dog was from them, other than that, how helpful she was, that's what kind of really sealed the deal with me going with Bark Force. You know, it was just knowledge on knowledge on knowledge, making sure that this is what you prepare for. This is how this dog is. Answered every single question. So I would definitely say Bark Force Kennels.
Yeah. Talk a little bit more about Dog Life. I don't think we got in too deep on the services you provide there in DFW Dog Life.
So Dog Life, it's different than a lot of dog facilities or dog services, because for me, it all started with breeding. And, you know, most people or most dog facilities, it's not breeding going on. It's just, you know, doggy daycare, dog boarding, dog training. But for me, it all started with breeding. it sparked everything. I got my first 2 females of quality. And from that point, it was like I already had a goal. I already knew that I wanted my avenue to be, I have rots that can go out in public and be okay. At the time I was staying in Deep Ellum, which is like downtown Dallas, you know, that urban feel of everybody going to Sunday fun day, you know, everybody going to brunch, everybody walking around. So I thought it was gonna be real cool to be able to have rots walking around for Sunday fun day. I can go to brunch and have my dog on the patio right there chilling, and it's a rot, and people looking at me like, dude got a rot right there. So that was really my angle. And you know, it was all socialization from starting at 8 weeks old. I'm taking them dogs everywhere. You know, I mean, them dogs got all my time. My friends will tell you, my family will tell you, people didn't see me unless I had a dog with me. And from there, it was like, well, I know I don't want to breed them until they turn 2 years old, because I want to do things, you know, what I felt like was the right way. But how can I make money off these dogs before 2 years old? You know what I'm saying? Because at the end of the day, they require money. So how can I make some money within still putting the dog first? So my boy Avion, I got a homeboy out here, Avion. DJ does it all. He does photography work. And he asked me to use my dog for a photo shoot that he wanted to do. And from there, a light bulb just went off. You know what I'm saying? Because I mean, I did that shoot for him for free. It was just like a shoot. All right, cool. And then after the photos came out, people seemed to really like him. He was like, hey, like, I'll pay you, you know, $50, $75, come to this shoot with the dog. Next thing I know, hey, such and such want to do a video and he want a dog in it. So that was just like, dang, like, okay, there go my dog food for this month. Okay, there go my dog food for that month. And from there, like I said, a light bulb just went off. And I'm a writer, I'm a planner. I got me a composition book. And from there, you know, my creativity just went off. Like, I wasn't going to sleep. When I went to work, I really just was right there with my notes, not really tuned in to work. And I started trying to figure out, how can I make money off dogs? I was, at the time, an unfortunate situation occurred that I felt like it definitely I was taking an L. It was a personal matter where it was forcing me to have to move. So I had to move to a different side of Dallas, which was more dog people, so to speak. And I wasn't by the dog park that I was at. So, but I was right next to a doggy daycare. So I was like, okay, well, I'm still big in temperament and my dogs and making sure that they're good with other dogs and, you know, seeing things. So I started taking my dogs to a doggy daycare. And when I was dropping them off, it was 75 dogs in there every day, like clockwork, Monday through Friday. I'm dropping them off. It's like 75 dogs that I can see. I don't even know how many in the back and kennels. I just see $75 every day. And then, like I said, a light bulb just went off like, hold on, man, I'm paying $35 a day. I got 2 dogs and it's 75 of them in here Monday through Friday. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So it was just, like I said, got to writing. And I started doing research into doggy daycare, you know. Then came dog boarding. You know, everybody kind of already thinks, you know, of the dog training side. So, you know, that kind of came a little bit later down the line. But I just started planning and, you know, doing research on those type of things. And then I actually we moved again, and my mom, she got like a half an acre lot, and it was still like it was super close to downtown, which is kind of rare, you know, finding that size of a lot so close to downtown. And, you know, it was coming up on summertime, and I was just like, all right, I think it's time to, you know, try to dibble and dab with this daycare and boarding. So I downloaded Rover. And once I downloaded Rover, I probably got like my first 3 clients. They left me a good review. And from there, like every single day somebody was, reaching out to me on that app, like looking for a dog sitter, looking for boarding. And, one thing led to another, to the point where, I made probably like 6,000 in 2 months. And, again, to some people, that's probably like, that ain't really just a lot, but I was just dibbling dabbling. I was just starting. So to me, and I only did it for the summertime because at the time I was working in education. So I was off for the summer, still getting paid on top of getting paid.
Yeah.
So to me, what's better than this? You know what I'm saying? I'm sitting at the crib watching dogs, is which what I already do anyway. That was like kind of my thing was, it's not really a hassle for me to have to watch people dogs because I'm watching my dogs. You know what I'm saying? I'm already outside watching dogs.
It wasn't like an extra 6,000 though.
And on top of just by doing it by watching dogs, like, so to me, that was just like, I got that little taste of that. Yeah. And then when it was time to go back to education, every day I'm just like, man, take me back to the yard.
Yeah.
Every day, it's like, man, I want to go back to the yard. Them dogs wasn't giving me these problems that these parents and students giving me. So it was just like, I got to find a way to get back to the dogs. And then I started realizing that I was, paying attention to high up breeders at the time because, I still had goals of, being a top breeder. And I realized that I'm gonna never be a top breeder unless I have the time to give my dogs that they deserve. You know what I'm saying? Like, yes, I can make money off breeding if I got 10 females all in a kennel and they just stay there until I get home. I breed them, sell puppies, cool. But that's not gonna really get me the recognition or the respect of being a high up breeder if I can't respect my dogs and give them what they need. So it was just like, I got to be with my dogs all day. This not enough time. I'm working, gone 8-9 hours, come home, had a bad day, really don't feel like training now. All right, I'll skip it. We'll train tomorrow. 3 days done went by. I train tomorrow. So it was just like, okay, how do I find a way to give my dogs the time? And the answer to me came, okay, well, you making money off dogs. It sounds like you need a dog facility. So one thing led to another with, talking to the family. My family was just so supportive. It's funny because all of us do something very well that contributed to the business. My mother, she's into real estate and she's accounting. So she found the spot, she kind of handles the financial aspects of the business that, that's behind the scenes. Her husband is great with maintenance work. So when it came to building things and fixing things, he was super helpful. My wife is great at handling documentation and, making sure that these things are, and said, it's little things that people don't think about that take so much with breeding, sending off DNA, handling AKC registration paperwork, making sure this is out on it, making sure that your documentation is in before the puppies go home. So she was handling all that, so everybody viewing me as doing everything when really I'm just with the dogs. I have the easy job, in my opinion. Right. I'm just hands-on with the dogs. So like I said, one thing kind of led to another, and then we end up getting a facility. And now currently we offer doggy daycare, boarding, training, grooming. We have a veterinarian on staff, and we also do transportation. We also have actually recently started whelping services. Again, of course, we breed ourselves, our personal dogs. And we've actually in the process of starting a program called My Dream Dog. Which is where someone can actually, you can get the dog of your dreams, to sum it all up. But rather, I have a lot of clients that may want an older dog. I want a 2-year-old, 2-year plus dog that is already super obedient, already, mild-mannered, that is still just truly beautiful. So we're getting ready to start that, which is going to result in some of my females that produce litters, we don't sell them as puppies. We actually hold on to the whole litter, train every single puppy based on different aspects of, you know, clients' goals and whatnot. And then the dog goes home after the dog is, you know, 1 year old, or, you know, based on what year the client wants the dog. So we do a lot, and it's still growing, to be honest. Every day, you know, I kind of learned something new, something, you know, that we may or may not want to add to the table, but it's been a journey. It's been a journey.
Man, that's too live, bro. I'm just sitting here. Oh man, we need to try to get a dog like in every major city here in the United States, man, for sure.
Yeah, man, that's on my notes in one of my journals somewhere.
Speaking into existence, and it's definitely gonna happen, man. For people who can't get to you in Dallas, and you know, let's just say somebody in Columbus, Ohio, or something like that, what would be some tips you would give them to look for the right trainer, the right boarding program, the right facility for them to take their dogs?
It's a great question. That's something a lot of people don't really think about. And to be honest, I never knew how important that question was until actually owning a dog facility. That is actually super important. And to be honest, it all goes back to what we always keep saying, which is it comes down to your goals. You know, I know some trainers that specialize in protection work. Not saying that they can't do show ring training with your dog, but you're not giving your dog the best chances of excelling with that by taking them to that particular training. So first and foremost, you got to know your goals. What do you want from training? You know, people hit me up all the time. Hey, I'm looking for, I want my dog to come get trained. I'm looking for training. That tells me nothing. You know, it's a million different types of training. You know, do you want show ring? Do you want protection? Do you want obedience? Do you want, you know, socialization? I don't know what you mean by, you know, just saying training. So when you know your goals, it aligns everything to be able to make the best decisions moving forward. So if you know that you're just interested in obedience, then I would try to, you know, do some research on, you know, trainers or facilities that are specializing in obedience. Some of the top places that you can take your dog isn't going to be the best place for your dog. And, you know, just because they're the top place does not mean it's going to be best for you. I tell, you know, some potential clients that come in, you know, we be straight up. We may not be the best place for you. You know, it just depends on your goals. But those are the things that I would kind of pay attention to is, you know, based on your goals, is this what they specialize in? You know, how can they show me, can you show me dogs that you've worked with? That's going to be a big one too. Also, what are your training methods? A lot of different trainers have a lot of different methods, and that's just the reality. You know, you got some trainers that are very, very stern disciplinaries. You know, you probably wouldn't even feel comfortable seeing how they train your dog. You know, whereas some people, that's how they are themselves. So yeah, handle my dog. You know, so it's just a lot that kind of goes in it, to be honest. But at the end of the day, you got to know your goals for your dog and what the outcomes you want. You got to do some research, make connections with people. Most people who are unsatisfied brought their dog, left their dog, and was out. They didn't ask no questions. You told them the price. They said, okay, they paid, was out. It's not as many unsatisfied people who asked you 50 questions before they, you know, decided to go with it. So ask questions, ask a lot of questions. It's okay. If somebody got a problem with you asking 50 questions, they're not the trainer for you. They're not the, you know, the dog facility for you. Ask a lot of questions, and, you know, at the end of the day, if it aligns, then it'll align. You know, you can also, one thing you can do too is try out just one day of doggy daycare first. See how your dog come home after just being up there for one day. You know, some people want to kind of start off with, I'm gonna leave my dog up here for 30 days. You know, if you're not used to leaving your dog anywhere, you may want to just leave him one day first and see how that goes. But all in all, you got to know your goals.
Is it ever too late to train a dog? Can a dog be too old to train? Obviously, you know, if they old and sick, but you know, if they still able and capable.
No, absolutely not. Now, it kind of depends on your goals from training. You know what I'm saying? And if you want to do personal protection work and you got a 9-year-old dog, it's probably too late. You know what I'm saying? Tracy McGrady can't come back to the league right now and come drop, you know, 13 points in 13 seconds no more, 30 seconds no more. You know what I'm saying? You got to hang that up. So, you know, when we come to that aspect, yeah, you know, it can kind of be too late for certain things, but just in general and like obedience, no, it's really never too late to train a dog. It's all about how do you break through to that dog? What is the best methods for that dog? And again, I like to give out a little disclaimer. I am not a professional trainer. I honestly tell people I'm not a trainer at all. That's why I have trainers on staff at my facility, because they have way more experience and they are way better at training dogs. I, at this point, only train my own personal dogs. But being around trainers and seeing training all day long, it's never too late to train a dog. It's just all about how do you break through to that particular dog. They can be set in their ways more than a younger dog. But again, you got to kind of dig deeper in your bag. And, you know, high up and professional trainers will tell you that's how you actually find out what type of trainer you are. That's how you find out, are you really a trainer? Because it's easy working with puppies. You know what I'm saying? Puppies will make anybody look good. Belgian Malinois will make anybody look good. But can you go to the SPA, grab a dog that's been locked up for 3 months and train him? That'll show you what type of trainer you are and what type of patience you have. I don't really have a lot of patience. That's why I knew that I didn't feel like training was for me. It's something I'm still working on.
Jeremy, got any questions?
I got one quick question for you. Craziest story about you having a female in heat? Yeah. Yeah.
Let's see. I got littermate sisters.
Okay.
And remember, these was my 2 first ones. My 2 first quality dogs. I know I had the one in college. I don't never really consider her my first ones because, again, she wasn't of quality. My 2 first quality dogs was littermate sisters. I went and got 2 at the same time. I was big. Temperament. They good with any dog. They get good with kids. If one of them come in heat, they fighting each other. And I just be like, out of all this time that I spent on temperament with y'all, that's how I knew when they come in heat, is they start wanting to get feisty and start fighting each other. Every single time one of them come in heat, it's like, okay, somebody in heat. And sure enough, a couple days later, one of them bleed. So it's like I always kind of know when one of those 2 females are coming in heat, because they'll start fighting each other or want to get feisty with each other.
Something about that instinct.
I don't know what it is with them. And like I said, y'all sisters, man. I understand if you was getting into it with one of the other females.
Yeah.
It's only them 2. I don't know what it is. I guess it's like, you know, I didn't have sisters growing up. I had a brother growing up. So I guess it was like that brotherly love where y'all gonna get into it eventually, brother or not. So,
yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, it'd be crazy seeing how the personality that each individual dog has. You know what I'm saying? Like no dog is really the same. They got their own type of personality.
Absolutely. And I think having doggy daycare and dog boarding, that's what truly showed me that. Like, man, you know, it's one thing seeing your dogs, but then seeing all these other people's dogs, that was like eye-opening to me. Excuse me. It also showed me that it's a lot of different ways to raise a dog. because before that, it's so easy to judge people based on what they do with their dog. You know what I'm saying? Like, oh, you the type of person that allows your dog to sit in your lap driving down the street. You know what I'm saying? You're the type of person that dresses your dog up in clothes, or you're the type of person that ties your dog to a tree, or it's all these different scenarios, or stereotypes of how you raise a dog. And once you start doing dog services, you see so many different ways people raise dogs. And at the end of the day, that ain't none of my concern. That ain't my job to judge you based on how you want to, raise your dog. That is not my dog. We as people wasn't raised all the same. Some people got to go out whenever they wanted as a kid. Some kids wasn't going nowhere. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, everybody's entitled to raise their dog however they want to raise their dog, long as you are taking care of the dog, long as you making sure that that your dog is healthy, you're not abusing it. It's nobody's place to say what you should or shouldn't be doing with your dog.
Right. Man, bro, we definitely appreciate you for coming through and dropping all this good knowledge, man. How can someone get in contact with you?
You can go to Google. Probably one of the easiest ways to find us is if you go to Google and just type in Dawg Life. Again, that's DAWG. We're on Instagram. I have about three different platforms, but they're all pretty much the same. DFW _Dawg Life. We have one platform that's just DFW Dawg Life, and then we have DFW Dawg Life _MALS. That is our Malinois page.
You work with Malinois too.
Yeah, we also we have some Malinois. It's not as deep as the Rots. My trainers actually is the ones who got me into the Malinois. To be honest, I really didn't just have a big passion for them at first. And even when the passion started growing for them, I knew I'm not getting no Malinois until I have a facility.
Yeah.
That's what kind of really, some people are like, well, why you get it now? Why you didn't get a Malinois? I didn't have a facility when I first thought about it. And I knew good and well, that's not the type of dog you bring home unless you got a lot of time. You know what I'm saying? Your yard and everything is going to be tore up. That dog, that's not going to be a good situation. So I knew until I have a dog facility, I'm not getting any Malinois.
They known for being real escape artists, right?
Man, it's some Malinois in there. It don't matter how high that fence are. They put one paw in each hole, and they climbing better than some people I know.
That's crazy, man.
They go under, they going over. I know I have a few at the facility that we have to actually do extra precautions for, and we have to put locks on their kennels because they know how to open the kennel door. They're just so highly intelligent, and starting out at a young age at that.
And see, I think the only Malinois that I ever saw was Damu Suge Knight Malinois. Because all these years, I thought that was like a pit bull he had, but one of my partners had to say, "Nah, man, I think that's a Malinois."
I didn't know the difference between a Mal and a German Shepherd. I thought that it was the same dog. One was just smaller. I didn't know that most law enforcement are using Malinois instead of German Shepherds. I didn't know the difference, but once me and one of my trainers linked up, he had a Malinois, and that's what kind of went ahead and persuaded me that okay, I really do have a passion for them. I like them. It was just I got to make sure the timing is right because this isn't the majority of them aren't just pets. That's a true working dog. If you're not ready to work that dog, you're gonna probably get rid of it because there was a couple of them that I would watch for daycare or boarding, and they couldn't come back. It was just too much. You guys' dog can't come back. So I knew, I gotta have a facility before I get these. But I love what they can do. You know, the athletic ability and the work that they can do is just incredible. You know, they're that's a breed that that can't really be matched in a lot of areas, you know, overall. So I love the athleticism. I love what they can do on the working field. But again, definitely not dogs for everybody.
Well, bro, we definitely, like I said, we definitely appreciate you coming through. We definitely gonna have to do this again, man. Hopefully, sooner or later, the studio will be set up, man. We can do a live and in person, you know, session, man. And next time I'm in the DFW area, I'm definitely gonna come holler at you, man. And just, you know, come check you out.
Absolutely, absolutely. You know, you and Jeremy, y'all ever in Dallas, stop by. If I'm not at the front, just tell the person at the front, Space City here. I'll be up there. But definitely, you know, I appreciate y'all for having me on y'all platform.
Appreciate you for coming, bro. For real.
Not at all, no problem at all. I'm like I said earlier, I'm just so glad that somebody is doing something other than breeding to help the breed. You know, breeding and taking care of your dogs is not the only way to help the breed. You don't even have to breed to help the breed. So you guys keep making sure that y'all giving people a platform to gain knowledge from. Keep pushing your platform. It will grow. People are looking for platforms like this so that they can continue their journey. I wish you guys had this platform when I very first started. I probably wouldn't have made as many mistakes as I did, but all in all, I'm definitely glad that you guys are doing what you do.
Man, we definitely appreciate that, man. And whenever you ready to get the HTX Dog Life facility set up, man, you got your first 2 pooper scoopers right here.
Man, that'd be the most important job. People be on the pooper scoopers, man. I need them. I'm a pooper scooper still. I tell my crew, man, hey, I'm the first one here picking up poop, so I don't want to hear no complaint.
For sure, man. Appreciate it, man.
No problem. Y'all be easy.
All right.